we're going to talk about how you can amp up your confidence and achieve your greatest goals. The guest that we have today, he studied a lot of experts in the field of motivation and success, and his first book was all about health and fitness, and I'll introduce him to you in a second. But the principles we're going to talk about in this episode are going to help you become more effective in your personal life, more effective in your career, and more effective in your business if you own a business or if you want to own a business. And his name is Mr. Jacob Craig. He is from the Rochester area over in upstate New York. And Jacob Craig is an author who researches and writes on various thought leaders in the self-improvement space. So we're very similar in that regard. The experts he studies have collectively influenced millions in a positive manner, and they continue to work hard to do so. Jacob recently published his first book, Inspiring Leaders in Health and Fitness, Volume 1. And he's currently working on his second title, Inspiring Leaders in Motivation and Success. While writing is the core of his work, he also live streams his morning routine to help others start their day off on the right foot. And he's working tirelessly to help share this information with others to help him improve their lives. So, Jacob, it's a pleasure to have you here, brother.
Oh, Brandon, I can't say how delighted I am to be on. It's awesome to get to know you and your work. You're just doing awesome things, and love to hear everything. I'm going to be following you after this, so I appreciate you for having me on, and really look forward to talking with you.
Right back at you, brother. And let me tell you, live streaming is not a natural thing to human beings, right?
No.
We were never designed to be in front of a camera with a microphone. Like, we were designed to be like around a campfire, or, at a table, whatever it might be, and having legit conversations, connecting with people. And it takes an exorbitant amount of confidence, especially the first few times, in order to start the live stream and be in front of people and be like, so it's good to see you. And it's unnatural to look at a camera lens because we're used to looking into people's eyes. And it requires a lot of confidence to even continue to show up on live streams, to really give it your all. So I wanted to dive right into confidence with you and ask you, among all this research that you've done and experiences in your personal life, what do you believe confidence is? And also, why do you believe that there's such a lack of confidence in the world today?
Sure. No, that's a huge topic. And that's really what I try to kind of relay in the work that I do is, trying to improve people's confidence so they can achieve the goals they want to achieve. And live streaming is definitely a good way to connect that. If you look at the live streaming world, from video games to any content creators nowadays, the amount of persistence, the amount of work, and it's insane how much they need to do to really build that audience. And it really it does. It's not natural. It takes a lot of work. Like, even just talking to the camera, it's not an easy thing to do. It's very different from any other human interaction we have. But confidence in general, obviously, it's huge no matter what you do. I do a wide variety of work. My career is as an engineer, construction manager, so I'm used to dealing with people. And in construction management, there's a lot of, confrontation, things that happen sometimes. And so you need to be confident in that approach, as well as, what I'm doing in this realm through my live streams every day. It's very different, but the principles are really the same. So I really have a approach that I like to call putting in the reps, is what I say to people if I'm trying to help them improve their confidence. These are the ways that people can improve their confidence. So the R is reflection. So that could be journaling. That could be talking to somebody. It could be talking to a therapist. And I'm talking about just confidence in general, getting confident in anything. I feel like this is really the basis, is reflection. Nobody really, I shouldn't say nobody, the vast majority of people do not take this time to reflect, to really get to know, where they want to be in 5 years, where they want to be in 10 years. And so to take that time and to really get to know yourself just by journaling or talking to other people. Another way you can do it, I'm thinking about the next piece. But yeah, so that's really the core of it, is reflection and taking that time to yourself. And some ways you can do that, if you look into like Jordan Peterson, he has his self-authoring program, which is great. It's very, very in depth. But really, it doesn't have to be that complicated. It can just be sitting down, thinking about where you want to be in the future, and that's how you can get started. And then building your goals off that. If you want to go specifically into goal setting, I could talk about that for 10 minutes and go into just that part of trying to figure out your 5 major goals that'll mean most to you, so that you can start heading in a direction. And that's really what I like to tell people too, is just get started. A lot of people make excuses. They have time, don't have the time, don't have the money. Just get started somewhere, start down a path, and you'd be surprised at, what you're able to accomplish, what you're able to achieve. And the amount that one person can do is really, really incredible. So there's my spiel on reflection. The next part, the E of the rep, is education. So educate yourself through books, through podcasts, through, if you want to get better at live streaming, study live streamers, see how they do it, see, what really allows them to connect with their crowd, how they do that, and really just get to know the ins and outs. And so educate yourself. Knowledge is power, as they say, or knowledge is potential. And you never know what little tips you'll grab here and there. A lot of times you'll read a book, and it's not just, one book that's going to get you where you want to go. But if you pick up little tidbits here and there that are going to make a difference, that you notice that all people in this area do this thing, you should probably do that thing as well. So educate yourself. And the last part, the P, you can reflect and you can educate all you want, but if you're not putting in the practice to get there, then there's really no, that's where you're going to build the most confidence. And like I said, this really goes for anything you're trying to build confidence. And if you want to be a confident speaker, practice speaking. Get involved with clubs where you can speak, like Toastmasters, a fantastic way to practice your speaking, get comfortable. And you meet people that really just want to help you out. And one thing I've really learned from studying the podcast realm is there's so many people out there just trying to give value to people, no matter what area you're trying to educate yourself on. And you can really get to know the person behind the podcast. You really get to know them. And it brings a whole nother realm to when you're reading a book, getting to know the author behind the book, and they're really just trying to give value to you. It really makes you appreciate what they have to say that much more. So reflection, education, and practice is what I have to say for building confidence.
I think that's like the most beautiful formula for confidence probably that I've ever heard from somebody, because it's a very practical, something that someone can actually take and begin to use immediately. And you can even incorporate every single one of those things into every one of your day somehow.
Yep.
And I'll tell you, I like what you said about Toastmasters, because when I joined Toastmasters, wow, it's probably about 5-6 years ago now. When I joined Toastmasters, it really put me out of my comfort zone. Mm-hmm. And it got me around more people. And it also got me doing something that I wasn't strong at doing. And the first time I went to Toastmasters, I didn't really know what it was. A friend invited me, but I went back a couple of years later, and I've been a part of it ever since, because I wanted to educate myself on speaking. So I wanted to actually get there and do the thing. And the reason why I wanted to talk with you about confidence, because there's so much we could talk about, right? We could talk about fitness, we could talk about business, all those things. And there's a couple of those things I do want to ask you about, but confidence, it's a pandemic of itself in the world today, is the lack of confidence. And I sent a survey out to my audience, and probably 90% of everybody marked self-confidence as something they're lacking. And I asked, well, what would you like to see in the world? I always ask everybody that. And they said, well, I want to be more confident. And my next question is always, well, what do you want to be more confident in? What does that look like? And they either say, I want to be more confident in the way that I look. I want to be more confident financially in my relationships. Well, it's exactly what you said. Okay, cool. Well, what's your plan? How do you plan to improve? What are the top, like you said, the top 5 major goals you have? And when's the last time you read a book on that? When's the last time you read Inspiring Leaders in Health and Fitness? When's the last time you read a book on relationships or whatever it is you're trying to get better at? And let me tell you, man, and this is what you're doing every day, and what I'm doing as well, is the only reason that we're so confident in what we do is because we do it. every day. We're in the trenches. We're practicing. We're getting better. We're seeing progress. When I trained full time, people always walked up and said, Brandon, you're such a great public speaker. And it's like, you didn't see me the first time I walked in front of the room. I was sweating. I was saying, I wasn't making eye contact. But I mean, before you walk, you're not able to walk. You're not confident at walking until you stand up and you fall. And then you get up and you walk a little further and then you fall again and you keep getting up and doing it over and over and over again.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's putting in the reps, the repetitions on just getting better and better and better. The more you do it, the better you'll get at it. That's why I say practice is the most important part, but I think what people miss is the reflection, taking that time to yourself, because like I said, so many people miss that. So many people just don't do it. They're so distracted. And you asked me, and I skipped over this part, is why I think that confidence is lacking today. And I think it's always been an issue that people have confidence issues, and maybe now more than ever because there's more distractions than ever. People are so stuck in the negative things that are going on in the world and things like that. Whereas the negative things are usually the things that you can't change. So why focus on those things? Instead, focus on the things that you can change. And one of the quotes I really, try to live by with this, or try to put with this, is it's actually a Dr. Phil quote. And he says, you have to take care of yourself first before you can take care of others. So start with yourself, start figuring out where, what direction you want to head in. If you want to improve your health, start there. If you want to improve your relationships, start there. And like I said, if you choose 5 goals, so you're not trying to do too many things at once, and some other tips with that are start your goals with I will. And so you have that mindset that you're going to do it, and then end it with the time frame. So you're not just leaving it open-ended 10 years down the line. You still have that same goal written out. And then keep that list of goals for yourself. So each morning you're looking at that set of goals. So I have my morning routine. As you said, I live stream it. And after I get off live stream, because some of my goals are personal to myself, as should everybody, I read my list of 5 goals to myself. So they're always on the top of my mind. And so that's just critical and keeps you, assessing where you're at and if you're making progress, or what goals are most important and what you want to prioritize the most. So there are some goals or some tips on goal setting in general. Just like I said, just start somewhere. It doesn't have to be anything astronomical to start out with. Just get started, start moving in a direction. And like I said, just start improving yourself, so that then if you want to be a contributor in society, you want to make impact, then think about that stuff later on. It'll come together.
I absolutely love that. So 2 things. First thing, I really wish you read the Dr. Phil quote in a Southern accent.
Yeah, I'd botch it.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. The second thing is the distraction piece that you said, right? I'm sure that and you can tell me after, I'm sure that when you get up, like, that's just in your calendar. That's just what you do. No negotiation. The reading of your 5 goals, I'm sure that's just what you do. No negotiation. What I used to do, like even like a year or 2 back, I would wake up and the first thing I would look at is my phone. I would turn my alarm off. I'd go out into the kitchen. I would fill up my water, make my coffee, and I would sit on the couch, or even while the coffee's brewing, I would be staring at my phone, going through social media. And it's not even that I got a bunch of negative stuff on my feed. It's more so that I would get consumed for 20 or 30 minutes of my time, right? 20 or 30 minutes that I could be spending with my journal, that I could be spending in a gratitude exercise or writing down my goals. And I find that a lot of people don't think they have the time, but we do, right? We're on our phone in the morning for 20 minutes. We're watching Netflix at night for 2 hours. And it's this thing of distractions are taking us away and really depleting the amount of time we have that could go into working on our confidence. So myself, I don't know what you do, but the first hour of my day, sometimes 45 minutes, depending on what my day looks like, I won't even look at my phone. I'll go through my routine, which is drinking my coffee, doing my gratitude journal, and I start my day with education. I read a book. Right now I'm reading a book called Boundless by Ben Greenfield. It's really good. And distractions are huge, man. And my question for you, because this episode's all about achieving your greatest goals. I like that you read your 5 goals to yourself every single day. Is there anything else that you'd recommend to people who struggle to have clarity in their life, who struggle with creating a plan? What would you recommend to the people who just don't know what they want to do next because there's so many different things they could pursue?
Yeah, I mean, it all comes down to narrowing it down, figuring out, what's most important for you and starting, like I said, starting somewhere, figuring out, what's important to you right now, what you could use most improvement on. And there's really no, simple way to really do that besides just think to yourself, reflect with yourself. And ways you can do that are listen to things that motivate you, people that inspire you, people that you look up to and think, how can I be more like them? How can I emulate that and sort of follow that path? Because that's, that's kind of the approach that I took. I know, Brandon, that you listened to motivational speakers yourself and decided, I want to go down that path. I want to be, speaking to people and helping people. And, I took a very similar approach because I was mainly influenced by people like Eric Thomas and Jocko Willink.
Yes.
And that really brought me down this path and got me to then start focusing on my health and fitness because I was in a bad spot myself. And then, it all started with that just one simple thing that I decided I needed to do, I needed to change. And then it turned into researching people. And then, I decided to write about people because it'll help me reinforce what I'm learning. And if I share that with people, people get the same value that I do from it. It's these chain reactions that expand, what's possible for you. And there's a great concept that I love called, I don't want to delve into this too much, but it's something that I'm just so fascinated in. It's called the adjacent possible. And this is from the book, Where Good Ideas Come From by Stephen Johnson. And what he talks about is, as you start doing something, you develop skills. And as you develop those skills, you expand what's possible for you. You all of a sudden start opening doors. And if you start down a path, you open that door, go in that direction, you start gaining more tools and you open up more adjacent possibles for yourself. You expand more opportunities for yourself, and that adjacent possible just keeps expanding. And so you just have to get started somewhere, and it'll be a catalyst for you to, really start going down the road. And as I mentioned before, a good program to really get started if you're really struggling with finding that source is the self-authoring program, or just take the time and write down the goal setting strategy that I use is Warren Buffett's 2-list strategy. So to simply break it down, you write down the 25 goals for yourself, and you think about all the areas of your life. You think about your career, your relationships, your lifestyle, your education, and your health and fitness. Those are the 5 areas. And it doesn't have to be 5 goals from each. Just, write down 25 goals. And this might take a couple hours, but it's something that's important to really get to know what's most important to you. So write down 25 and then simply cross out 20 of those, find the 5 that are most important to you, stick with those, and just assess. And so I do it annually. So a year later, I'm going to totally redo that evaluation, write down 25, filter out the 5 that mean most to me. And as I'm going through the year, like I said, I read it every day, and I'm so constantly assessing my progress on it and, adjusting and prioritizing as needed. So.
Wow, just so many knowledge bombs here, man. I want to just go back to what you said about a couple things there. I love that adjacent possibles idea.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
What book is that from?
That's Where Good Ideas Come From by Stephen Johnson. It's also interesting that you brought up Ben Greenfield because he's somebody that's featured in my book.
Oh, cool.
Yep. I honestly have not read that book because it came out as I was publishing, getting ready to release this book. So that's the thing, is all these people are still working hard to provide value to people. And Ben Greenfield has 13, 14, probably even more books than that now. So to read all of them, and Boundless is this, 600 page, giant book with tons and tons of knowledge. And so is Beyond Training, which is a great book that I read from him as well. So yeah, my book, Inspiring Leaders in Health and Fitness, Volume 1, it focuses on 6 experts in the health and fitness realm, from physical therapists to strength and conditioning to nutritionists, and really gives their background, how they developed their platform that they have today, and all the tips and tricks they give from studying their books, their podcasts, their blogs, really digging into them. And it breaks them down into, 15, 20 page summaries. And you really get to know these people as well as all the tips and tricks they give. And so you can really find a workout and or exercise and nutrition plan that works for you, whether you want to go a plant-based diet, a keto style diet, or a muscle building sort of diet, and exercise plan to suit. So definitely, if you want to check it out, it's right on Amazon, as well as you can go to my website. Well, we'll talk about that.
And there's a link, guys, in the comments. Click the link. And if you're watching this on YouTube, go in the description. There's a link to Jacob's book. I want to talk about your book, and I've already listened to a bit about your book. And I know you wanted to originally talk about 12 people and spend a month on each one.
Yep.
But instead it turned into spending your time on 6 people and spending 2 months on each person and really diving deep. And I guess the first question is, how did you choose those 6 people to really dive into them rather than the 12? Like, what's the significance with those 6?
So all of these people really work together. If you look at the podcast world, you look at the motivation success, a lot of people know the big names in that category. So I tried to bring the biggest variety that I could amongst people who were well respected, not only in the podcast realm, but they're large authors and speakers themselves. So people who have really influenced, hundreds of thousands of people, and have, way different programs than each other. So I could sort of compare, contrast, and try to give people an unbiased approach so that they can sort of find something that works for them, because I wanted to do that. I wanted to get, as much information as I could from a variety of people. It's so easy to stick with one person like Ben Greenfield, because he has so much great content that you could literally just spend your lifetime studying him, following what he does. But it's important for people to really find what works for them, because everybody's so unique and has, unique ideal bodies and ideal, just definitions of success that you could say. And that might be a weird time to bring in a definition of success, but to me, it's really feeling fulfilled and having your ideal body, at least for me, is a part of that. So yeah.
I like that. And I completely agree. When I really took a focus on my fitness, it changed every other area of my life. I was 260 pounds and I went from that to 190 pounds within 6 months. And I did it healthy the way, not even any supplements, anything. I just went to the gym and I started watching what I ate. And it changed everything for me, man. It changed my personal life. It changed the way that I saw myself when I looked in the mirror. I still had some self-image things that I had to work on, and I'm getting better at that every single day. But it really transformed my life in every area. And you just mentioned about those 6 people and why you chose them specifically. You mentioned that you chose 6 different people because there's so much content that you could dive into with each one, but you also wanted to bring some different viewpoints in there. So while they're all way different, what were some of the commonalities that you're finding with these individuals, as well as even the individuals in Motivation and Success, which is your next book, but I'm sure that they're similar. So what were some of the commonalities that you found amongst them?
Absolutely. For the health and fitness realm in general, I think a great point that they all sort of tie in is weightlifting in general and the benefits of weightlifting. So many people are, if they're a woman, they're scared they're going to get bulky if they pick up a barbell. And I'll tell you from experience, if you want to gain muscle, you need to, it's more about making sure you're getting enough calories, and you have to be trying to gain that muscle. Whereas you can simply be working towards your ideal body and be working on strength gains, and the beauty that comes from that is really, an amazing thing. And so starting with weightlifting and looking at people in the space that are in, things like CrossFit and communities, really any gym community, for people who are truly invested in it, it's amazing what they're able to accomplish. And it's not all about bulking. So there's a lot of benefits that come along with it. And like you're saying, it also improves your confidence. And that's, obviously a big topic we're talking about today. And really anything, you start somewhere, you're going to start building confidence in yourself in general. So you can start, heading in the right direction. There's really no wrong way to choose. You just need to find out where you could use most improvement and just start working. And oh shoot, I forgot. We were sorry.
No, that's fine. I like what you're saying.
So bringing everyone together, the biggest commonality that I saw coming from the health and fitness, the motivation and success space, coming from everybody is, as I mentioned before, just how many people are out there that are just trying to give value to people. And these people aren't out there just to make money. They're out there to really try and make an impact on as many people as possible in a positive manner so that people can live better, healthier, happier lives. And that is just a great thing to see. And it's just the way it needs to be. If you are successful in something nowadays, you need to be passionate about it. And that's really the driving force behind all of this. None of these people, and if you look at where Ben Greenfield is at, or if you look at someone else in my book, Mike Matthews is at, they have multiple 7 or 8 figure companies, but they don't stop there. It's not just for the money. It's trying to make an impact on the people. You can still reach out to these people and they'll contact you back. I was able to make contact with both of those people. And it's fascinating that they're that invested that you can email them and they'll email back. It's absolutely, just a very inspirational thing. And that's why, no matter what you're trying to get better at, there's people out there that just want to help you truly. So no matter what you want to get better at, the podcast realm is a great place to start because you can really get to know the person behind it and see that they have that, that they're passionate about it and you can really connect with them.
Speaking of this passion and purpose, because I talk a lot about purpose and a lot of people feel that they don't know what their purpose is. And they feel like they're just going to a job every day or a career, or even in a business that they don't love anymore. Maybe they did at the beginning. Obviously, you spent 2 years writing this book and compiling all this information and writing it and editing it and publishing it. Like, dude, I understand how much goes into writing a book. Like, I get it. It's a lot. And obviously, you have a passion for it if you did that because you want to help other people with it. When did you discover this purpose of yours when it comes to writing and getting this information out there? Like, when did you discover, hey, I feel that I'm really good at this thing, or I know I want to get better at this thing and I want to put all my time and attention into this? When was that for you?
To me, it was just a breaking point, a thought that, that I could make an impact, and that's my driving force behind all of this. If I can simply affect one person, make an impact that the people like Jocko Willink and Eric Thomas had that effect and were that catalyst for me to get started. If I could simply help one person to help them, if they read my book and get tips, and there's tips really for anybody if they want to improve their sleep. There's really tips no matter what area you're looking for, and it's so tied with motivation and success. So really any entrepreneur who loves hearing about motivation and success too, there's something in there for you as well. And so, that's really my main motivation. If I can help one person, and the fact and that's kind of what sparked it, what got me, sharing what I was writing, sharing what I was learning was, just the thought that it could help somebody out there who needs that catalyst to really push them to get started. And if there's tips that can really improve someone's health and lifestyle, it, like like we're saying, it affects so many other areas of your life, and it's just a chain reaction. And it's an amazing thing. So if I can happen to have that impact, it's just, there's nothing that can compare. And everybody's passion is different. Maybe you can simply find this passion in where you're working now, or everybody's direction you're going to take is totally different. There's so many different, well, yeah, just a world of avenues that you could take and find purpose in. If you just want to find purpose in your work, feel more confident, and you just need to figure out ways to improve and educate yourself so that you can further yourself in whatever direction you want to take. And that's what it's all about.
Well said. It goes back to what you mentioned before about just do something and try something, and once you do that, you'll open up all these other avenues of possibilities once you just start going down one road. And you're going down several roads right now, right? I had to ask you because whenever I meet an entrepreneur because you're doing it for the value, you're doing it for the service. I'm sure there will be a time where you are a full-time entrepreneur, but just like me, like I still work for a company as well because I love what I do. I'm very good at it, and it brings in the income that I enjoy, and it allows me to fuel my business and do even more with my business. But it also makes it so I don't need to soak all this money out of my business. I can really do the things that I enjoy doing and grow organically because I have this main source of income doing something that I enjoy. So I always have to ask entrepreneurs like you, like, I get it, man. Like, you're writing a book, like you're doing all this research on top of it. You're doing your live streams, you're doing these podcast interviews, you're doing a lot. Yet some people say, oh, I don't have the time to do that. I don't have a time for a morning routine. It's like, what do you mean you don't have the time? So my question for you is, how do you structure your life in a way that allows you to be operating a business while also working as a full-time civil engineer?
Yeah. So you sprinkled something in earlier that really struck a chord with me. Set non-negotiables. You have things that you want to accomplish, set those non-negotiables. Set aside that time. If your only time to work out is the morning, and you know that that's not an ideal time to work out, so you're not going to do it, or you go to bed too late, so you can't. Okay, those are just excuses on why not to. You have that time, and if you truly care about it, you're going to invest that time. If you're not, you simply don't care about it. Set non-negotiables for yourself. If you have a goal to run 10 miles a week, then make it a non-negotiable. If it comes Sunday and all you have is house chores that you got to do on Sunday, you've only ran 4 miles earlier in the week, you need to run 6. Well, get off your ass and run 6. You know what I mean? It's setting those non-negotiables, making sure holding yourself accountable is really where it comes in. And that's why this whole space of self-improvement, self-development, it's really all holding yourself accountable to what you say you're going to do so you can achieve what you never thought was possible. And that's really an amazing thing that I've been working towards, and that I can say, whether it's in my career or in what I'm doing outside of work, is I never really could have said 5 years ago where I'm at now. I didn't know 5 years ago that I was going to be an author, and if you look 10 years ago, I couldn't say in 5 years that I was going to be a civil engineer, construction manager. I had no idea that I'd be able to accomplish and get to that level, and be doing those things in general. And so how you do that is really just start working towards things, and you'd be surprised at where it can take you. And just to give some inspiration on that is just, it's incredible what one person can do. Somebody I've been looking at recently is Walt Disney. What he was able to accomplish. A couple quotes that I saw from him recently where he said he didn't have another motion picture artist that he looked up to. And it's like what he was able to do as one person, he didn't have anybody who really influenced him on exactly what his artwork was, but he was able to take his creativity to develop Disney and what Disney is today. What one person is able to accomplish is just insane. And the other quote from him was, if he said, I don't make motion pictures to make money. People pay me money to make more pictures. And so that's just the mindset change of showing the passion behind what you're doing. If you're passionate about something, then move in a direction and start doing it. And you'd be amazed at what you're able to build, what you're able to accomplish as one person. And so with what I'm doing inside my career and what I'm doing outside, it's all, expanding what's possible through, the best ways that I see. I really try to focus on a few things and build up on those things. But if it can seem like I'm doing too much, and I try to narrow down my focus, and my focus is really on research, live streaming, and right now, trying to get this book out there. And it's amazing that I get to meet people like you and have the opportunity to speak to people through your podcast, and just starting to go down the path of writing and sharing my ideas through a blog. I'd have never known, that this is possible, but it's amazing what one catalyst can do.
More avenues of possibilities, man.
Yep.
I never even had the thought of starting a show until probably a few months ago when I did a few live streams. And I was like, well, I'd like to bring people on here. And I found matchmaker.fm, and it opened up a whole new world. And I love interviewing people, but I selfishly love to meet new people, because when it comes to that accountability thing, it's one thing to say hold yourself accountable to it and set non-negotiables, because any of us can write down, well, tomorrow I will do this. It's another thing to have somebody that's a friend of yours, like you. When I say I'm going to do something, you can say, hey, Brandon, last week when you said you were going to do this, how did that go? It's really easy at times to let yourself down, but it's another thing entirely to let somebody else down because of your inaction.
Yep.
And I think community is a big part of that. And I agree. I love meeting new people through this. I love being in other people's shows and meet new people and get around people who are doing similar things to you, and even get around people who are doing very different things, so that you can open yourself up to all these new ideas and open up even more avenues of possibility.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. No, I want to hear what you had to say.
To me, I feel like holding yourself accountable, at least from my perspective, is obviously it's important to put yourself in an environment. But if you don't have that environment, I don't have author friends. I really don't know anybody who took that route, and I'm just starting to build those people through being on podcasts like this, getting to know more of these people and trying to connect with them the best way that I can. But nobody's really going to, nobody's going to hold you accountable like you're going to do for yourself. So that's really the important part, is not waiting for somebody to tell you to head in a direction, picking yourself up, realizing where you need to, gain improvement, and start working on those things yourself. And just be honest with yourself. It's not okay that you missed the workout yesterday. It's not okay. It's okay to put yourself down a little bit so that you can push yourself further. So many people just make excuses for themselves, and especially nowadays with it's important to do that, to make sure that you're holding yourself accountable so that you can reach new bounds. And there's something I wanted to say to entrepreneurs in general. And I think it was mainly just that, just get started somewhere, and you'd be surprised at, where that's going to take you. You never know. If you have something you want to do and you're like, man, I can't start a podcast right now. I don't have money. I don't have time. And I don't have, the fan base to follow me. Well, okay. How many podcasts out there had zero fan base, and they built it off of doing a podcast? If you're passionate about something, you have information, you have knowledge that could be helping people, then start. You'd be surprised at where it takes you. And if anything, you learn things from the process, you get to meet people, and you gain new tools so that you can expand that adjacent possible.
Wow, so well said, man. And I think everybody's got some value and some knowledge to share with other people for sure. And
Yeah.
every podcast started from zero. Every
Yeah.
single person that we listen to, Tony Robbins, Les Brown, Eric Thomas, dude, that's their story. That's why they're imagine if they didn't start from zero, they'd have nothing to talk about because that's all they talk about is their story from starting with nothing or even like starting negative with absolutely nothing. Like what you said about being honest with yourself and using that pain to drive you through. The only reason I'm even here right now is because that pain drove me, that pain of looking at myself in the mirror, not being happy, that pain of not having people in my life who I wanted to spend time around, that pain of not being nearly where I wanted to be is how I even found people like Tony Robbins and Napoleon Hill and all these different people I listened to, which opened up another avenue of possibility for me and had me go down that route. Because I said to myself, I like talking to people. I like doing those things. I'll do something similar to these guys, but instead in today's modern world, I'll make it different because now we have so much more possibility. And yeah, man, if someone's listening and they don't have a microphone or a camera or whatever, and they're wondering, well, how do I get like the nice backdrop and the logo? Listen, man, pull your phone out, turn it on the camera and start talking. And you know what? Imperfection is a beautiful thing because you're just going to keep getting better. You're never going to be perfect when you start. It's all about just starting. And one thing I wanted to commend you for, Jacob, to kind of wrap things up here, and I have one last question for you, is when I first started down this personal development journey, I found Napoleon Hill. And Napoleon Hill really helped to open me up to all these different people. And he brought all these different philosophies from a bunch of different experts in the field. And it really seems like you're doing the same exact thing that he was doing. You're finding these individuals, you're diving into them, spending your life, spending your months and years at a time to really dive in and get the best principles and pieces of knowledge and nuggets of information that they have. And then you put that into a book and you take your time to deliver other people's information to the world. Like that's a beautiful thing, man. And how many people know Napoleon Hill today? Everybody knows that name. Even if you don't know personal development, you know about Napoleon Hill, not because of the things that he's done while he did extraordinary things, but because of the information of others that he was able to bring to the world and help so many people. I mean, all these gurus out there, the book they recommend to read is Think and Grow Rich. Like that's the book that changed their life. And he wrote a lot of books before he wrote Think and Grow Rich. And you know what, man, like that's going to be you, brother. And you're already impacting a lot of people with this book. You've got your next book coming out. So I want to ask you this before I ask you where we can find your book and where we can connect with you. What is the change and the positive difference that you want to see made in the world?
Sure. I just want to say thank you for everything you just said. First of all, you're doing an incredible things yourself with all you're doing, your website, your books, this podcast. It's the impact you're making and what you do through the podcast. You're an awesome host. So you're also going to just be crushing it. I can see you're just going to you stay on this path. It's going to be amazing what you're able to accomplish. And I've heard the Napoleon Hill thing before from people. And to be honest, I haven't studied him. He's somebody who there's so many people out there, like I said, that are trying to give value to people. I know the name Napoleon Hill. I know Think and Grow Rich, but I haven't actually read his work or looked into him. I've been so focused on the health and fitness side of self-development. And now I'm just delving into the motivation and success. As you mentioned, my next book is going to be Inspiring Leaders in Motivation and Success. And right now I'm focused on David Goggins. As I mentioned before, I've focused on Jocko Willink and Eric Thomas in the past. And there's just so many people and so many books and so many podcasts to listen to that it's impossible to, really read every book and know everybody. And but I have heard the Napoleon Hill thing before, and he's somebody I'll have to look into probably for this book. So then to delve into your question, I apologize. I know we're wrapping up here. And it's what I said before, the positive change that I want to see in the world is what I'm trying to do through, if I can be that catalyst that Eric Thomas or Jocko Willink was for me, if I can be that for one person, that they can get started on their self-development journey and they get that inspiration, they get that confidence so that they can really start to push and reach new bounds and achieve what they never thought was possible. That is the difference that I'm trying to make.
That's incredible. I absolutely love that. And you're already doing it, man. And it's just going to keep growing and growing and growing. So Jacob's book, Inspiring Leaders in Health and Fitness, he held it up a couple minutes ago there. Very nice book cover. And I like the layout and everything. You can find that by going to the link in the description, wherever the description is, whether you're listening to it, whether you are watching this on YouTube. If you are listening, Jacob, where can people find your book and consume that content?
Sure. You can simply go to Amazon.com, type in Inspiring Leaders in Health and Fitness. You can also go to my website, InspiringLeadersCollective.com. Inspiring Leaders Collective is the name for my series, where Inspiring Leaders in Health and Fitness and Inspiring Leaders in Motivation and Success are going to be developed. And it's going to be a long time coming before that's really, done and built up. Well, I shouldn't say it's really ever going to get done, because I have Inspiring Leaders in Health and Fitness Volume 2 is going to be following the first volume of Motivation and Success. So I have a series that I'm planning to kind of keep things interesting, and so I can keep learning more in the self-development space and keep helping other people as well. And so they can really, and like I said, this book isn't just if you're trying to get fit in 30 days, it's trying to find a lifestyle that suits you if you want to improve your health and fitness. And no matter who you are, there's tips, like I said, from sleep to muscle building to if you're just trying to simply find a diet. If you don't know, because there's so much information out there between plant-based diets, between keto, between, just a Mediterranean diet, where do I start? Well, this will really kind of gear you in a direction and give you a feel on what direction you think, and you can experiment with different things and try what works for you, or find what works for you. So that's what this is all about. So yeah, inspiringleaderscollective.com, or you can just start by going to Amazon and checking out my book. You can get the ebook for $8, or if you're part of Kindle Unlimited, you can read it for totally free. Or you can buy the hardcover book, and it's $25. Actually, right now they have a discount where it's $20. But the reason for it is because I wanted it to be as presentable as possible. They have these nice color. This is portraits I got done by an artist, and I was like, I'm not going to not do a hardcover, not do color, because that's, the dream I have for this book is to give the best quality that I can give so it can reach as many people as possible. So, that's the hardcover. And if you want to just check out the ebook for a lower price, then there you go. Just go right to Amazon and check it out there. It's a great place to start checking out my work.
That's incredible, man. Go grab that book on Amazon, guys. Get the hardcover with the artwork. That's really cool. I didn't know that artwork was in that version. So very nice. Jacob, I want to thank you again for being on the show. I look forward to see what you do in the future, and I look forward to having you back once Inspiring Leaders and Motivation and Success is out.
Well, thank you, Brandon. Thank you. I will be, like I said, I'll be keeping up with what you're doing, and really look to keep connecting with you. It's awesome to see where you're headed, what you're doing. So I greatly appreciate you having me on, and look forward to talking to you in the future too.
Right back at you, brother. What a great conversation with Jacob Craig over from Rochester, who's doing some amazing things in the world when it comes to health and fitness, and really in success in general, because those principles you're going to read in that book, which is in the description, are going to help you in every single area of life. We talked about confidence. We talked about having clarity on a direction. We talked about adjacent possibles. What I really, really enjoyed from this conversation, the whole thing was great, but I really enjoyed the idea of putting in the reps when it comes to confidence, the idea of reflecting, of having a plan, of knowing what you want, the idea of constantly learning and getting the information and knowledge, but not just the knowledge, because like Jacob said, knowledge is power, but it's only power if you take it and you use it by putting it into practice, which is the P in reps. Take these principles of confidence, take these principles of achieving your greatest goals, and go out there and do something today to bring you in a forward direction and develop momentum. Grab Jacob's book. It's in the description, Inspiring Leaders in Health and Fitness. And for those listening, the number one way that you can support the Be Better broadcast so that we can bring in more incredible guests and continue to do this is to share this with one friend who this could make a difference in their life. copy the link, send it over to them, share it on your social medias, engage with the show. We love seeing you here. We love seeing the comments, and we're going to continue doing this and bringing you excellent people who can help you to live an extraordinary life. And until we talk again next time, continue to be better.